Blog Talk Radio.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, Executive Producer of the Female Solution Radio Show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all.
What if you could live to be 120 years old and remain active, healthy, alert, and vibrant? Our bodies are made up of cells that are constantly rejuvenating. So if we take proper care of ourselves, we can literally defy aging. Join us every Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time to learn about self-care from Susan Essentials on the Female Solution Blog Talk Radio Show. Learn how to help your body and your cells feel rejuvenated each day through proper nutrition, sleep, frequency medicine, and many unconventional methods of self-care. I'm Jody Susan. Join me and my amazing guests by calling in at 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak. We'll help you achieve a breakthrough in your health today.
Grand Rising, and thank you all for joining us on this Tuesday edition of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. Well, even though we might look alike, as you might be able to tell, I'm not Jody Susan. However, our regular Tuesday host, Jody, is out doing a special presentation today, and we're here filling in. I'm Naima Latif, looking forward to speaking to you.
Ain't no nothing. That carried me to this day, man.
And, well, see, that was a premonition of what's to come, voices coming out of nowhere, because today we're talking to a woman who has made a profound discovery that all of us should know. Caroline Chang, producer of Awake to Oneness Radio, had an experience in which her son transitioned. And like most mothers, there's a pain of loss. But then she discovered that there really is no loss. And in some amazing ways showed that the energy of our loved ones who have transitioned not only remains with us, but can even be captured through some of our modern technology. Her second child also transitioned, and for many mothers, this might have been devastating. But for Caroline, she understands that their relationship has merely changed now that her beloved children are on the other side. They're with her now more than ever. Well, we've been talking about how to address the transition of a child and the grief. But truly, if you understand that there is no death, then there will be no grief. Not in the way that we are feeling like we have lost someone. So today we want to share experiences to help those who may be suffering because they believe they've lost a loved one. And we want to show you how to reconnect. So I'd like to welcome to the show my dear sister, Caroline Chang. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I just love connecting. We've known each other for several years and connected and done things together, and thank you. Thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, so I was so excited when I had a chance to meet you because I've been watching your show, Awake to Oneness, and I'm like, oh, wow, this sister's deep, and you had so many of your guests you've had on just profound wisdom teachers.
Yes.
And it's almost like there are two worlds. Well, we know that the world is separating between the awakened and the still asleep. But we want to awaken more people. And when I saw your show, Awake to Oneness, I just said, I got to find a way to connect with her and have her on because there's just so much knowledge that's right out here in plain sight all over the Internet. And if we can just share it with people who may not have tuned into it, we can change their lives.
Very, very true. Very true. Yes.
So for people who have not yet met you, give us a brief account of your story. What happened first with your son and then with your daughter and how you reconnected across the veil.
Yes. Well, I'm going to go a little bit before my son transitioned because my spiritual awakening was in 2007, and that was science. And everybody, we were just talking about awaken, collective, and those that are still asleep, and no judgment for those that are still asleep. Because when you're awake, you understand there is never a judgment. Right. But my awakening to the universal truth of oneness happened in 2007, long before my son got ill. And that was a blessing. Because I think without that awakening, I think if you're not spiritually awake when devastating things of a transition of a child happens, that can really throw you in the opposite direction. So I was blessed to have that spiritual awakening many years before my son transitioned. So when my son did transition in 2014, I was at complete peace. There is a book that I wrote a chapter in called My Miracle on 34th Street, because 3 years before my son's transition is what really changed my life and had me to be at peace when he actually did transition. Well, doctors had said he wasn't going to live in 2011. And it was December of 2011, and he had been on life support for many weeks. Doctors said he wasn't going to live, and even though I was spiritually awake, I was like, I am not burying my son. And in the hospital, I wrote a suicide note, and I tried to take my life. And this is in December of 2011. And so I didn't succeed in trying to take my life, but they put me on suicide watch and I could only visit with my son for a few minutes a day while he was still in ICU. And I whispered in his ear. I said, Kyle, get better so we could both go home. And that night, we experienced a medical miracle. My son pulled himself off life support, and doctors were in a maze. They were astonished because when he pulled himself off, and he's sedated, because to be on life support you have to be sedated. So in a sedated state, he had the strength to pull out the ventilator, to pull out the feeding tube, and his vital signs were perfect. The doctor said it was like he was never even sick. And within a week, he and I were going home together. He heard me when I said, Kyle, get better so we can both go home. And he knew I still needed him for me, needed him around here in the physical for me to get prepared to do my soul mission. So I write a chapter called My Miracle on 34th Street, because the hospital was in Philadelphia on 34th Street at Christmas time.
Wow.
Yes. So, but it was that. Now, when I brought him home in 2011, I said to God, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, he could transition to that. I don't know, but I will never, ever, ever, ever stop thanking you. And that was December 30th of the day before New Year's Eve in 2011. And I have never stopped keeping that promise. So when he did actually transition 3 years later, I was at complete peace. I knew it was his time. I know every soul comes into this life experience in perfect divine timing for that soul, and every soul leaves this life experience in perfect divine timing for that soul. And so when he left, when he did transition, I knew it was his time. I knew he wasn't going anywhere. He was just leaving that vehicle we call a body. We are not our body. I knew it was a soul plan. I knew it was planned before my birth. I knew he chose me to be his mom. And I knew, and I agreed. I said, yes, I want to be your mom. And he said, but I won't be hanging around in that place called Earth as long as you. You have more work to do. And but so I was at complete peace when he transitioned, and that was 9 years ago, July 1st of 2014. And 2 years after his transition, on his birthday, I was gifted a reading by Suzanne Giesman.
Oh, my.
An amazing medium.
Yes.
And she's not just a medium, she's also a channel.
Yes.
And she channels her spirit team called Sanaya. Yes. Sanaya had told her, before she got an email from me, Sanaya had said, you are going to do a reading for a mother who has a son in spirit on Thanksgiving Day. Now, my son is a Thanksgiving baby. Every 4 to 5 years, 5 to 6 years, his birthday falls right on Thanksgiving Day. Oh, wow. So it was 2016. His birthday was right on Thanksgiving Day, November 24th. And I emailed Suzanne to say, a week before that, I said, I'm just thinking a lot about Kyle. And she said, I'm giving you a reading on his birthday. I said, wait a second. That's Thanksgiving Day. I don't want to take you from your family. Thanksgiving has always been my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
I don't want to take you from your family on Thanksgiving Day. So she's like, no, I was told I had to do this reading. Yes. Now, it was so amazing, and your audience can hear this because it's on YouTube. We actually, from that reading, I had never heard of electronic voice phenomena called EVP, meaning hearing your loved one that's on the other side through electronic instrument. I never heard of it. She had heard of it, but it had never happened to her. She had never experienced it. So throughout that reading, you hear this swooshing sound.
Wow. And
she could hear it. Now, live, she could hear it. I could not hear a thing. You can hear me loud. And it's loud. She's like, you will hear it in the recording. You've got to hear the recording. I've got to share this with you, the link, because I have it all on YouTube. But we actually
I'll put it on the page so people can actually go and listen.
Listen to it. Yes, you can actually hear Kyle's voice, and he's saying, what you hear him saying is doing it, meaning he's saying, I still have a lot of work to do, and I'm doing it. So that was so amazing to have his voice on tape, and that was 2 years after his transition.
Wow.
Then I have another guest that I've become friends with. Her name is Sonia Rinaldi. She is a Brazilian researcher, and she has been researching for over 30 years, connecting to our loved ones through electronic, through the computer, through audio. She has images, she has audio, and she actually now has video with images and audio together of our loved ones on the other side. And her work is so amazing, and she does not charge anything, especially for mothers, especially for parents that have children. She will, it's so amazing. Kyle has come through to her so many times, and I have those images in that video I have on YouTube, and it's so amazing. Also, in that, a couple of things, in that video where you hear Kyle's voice, you also hear my dog, Coco, who transitioned.
Wow.
2007.
Wow.
And Kyle's holding Coco, and you can clearly hear Coco's bark. It's so amazing.
Wow.
Yes, the veil is getting thinner.
Make sure I.
And
okay.
yes,
electronic voice phenomenon.
Right, electronic voice. Look that up, and look up Sonia Rinaldi. She has a YouTube channel. English is not her first language. But she's amazing. She's so amazing. There's also Rinaldi documentary about her work, and I actually am featured in that documentary, and it is now available for free on YouTube. The documentary. So I'll send you the link to that as well. So it's just, it's wonderful to know that your loved ones are still with you, but to actually have that physical evidence
that
they're still with you. And that's more so because Kyla said to me, Mom, I know you know that I'm still here with you, but I want you to have proof to show others. So that's why he came through. And it's very hard, very difficult for them to do that, to actually, hear the voice on this side of the veil. Very difficult. Takes a lot of energy. It's all about energy.
Well, that's the thing.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's a way to explain how that works, but you're picking up the energy of that person. So did his voice sound the same as he sounded when he was in a body?
Yes, it was clearly his voice, but they don't, in spirit, they don't have vocal cords.
Right, that's what I was going to say. They don't have vocal cords. So
they don't have vocal cords. So it was
how do you recreate the sound?
Manipulating the energy with the computer is how he was able to have that voice come through. But it was very difficult to do. He, like, the whole session, you can hear him trying, and all you get is that one little, it's like you got to really, actually, Suzanne did not hear it. But I heard it a couple of days later, and I said, Suzanne, listen right at this spot. And when she heard, you can clearly hear his voice. She was like, holy. She called her husband, Ty. She's like, Ty, come over here, listen to this. It was so fun. And the wonderful thing, it was the first time. Now, she has had, since then, because that was in November of 2016. Since then, she's had several more experiences like that with bringing through other loved ones. But with Kyle, it was the first time that has ever happened with her. And so, it's just amazing. It really is.
Well, that really does help people understand that when people are hearing their loved ones who've transitioned or even seeing their images, and it's not your imagination. Your energy never dies. What is it? Matter can be neither created or destroyed. Well, all matter is energy slowed down. So if we know that our energy has always existed from the beginning and continues to exist once we transition out of this fleshly vehicle, then we can understand that there is no such thing as death.
Not at all.
And when we can really comprehend that, there won't be any fear or grief. Because what's the biggest thing people fear? Death.
Yes.
So if it doesn't exist.
I have to tell you, I'm 61 years old. Not 1 second in this life experience have I ever feared death. Even as a child, it's like I always knew. I was born knowing that there's a greater reality than this experience, and I never ever feared death. So, but I understand that is a great fear for many.
Yes. And I think what it is, people fear
the unknown.
They fear the unknown, and then they fear the suffering. They fear that there's going to be extreme pain and suffering. And then, of course, if you've been raised in a religion that teaches about hell, then they fear that they're going to be judged and condemned, and and they think of all these mistakes they've made, and people think that the creator of the universe is like our dysfunctional parents that punish us for things. That we might not even have done, or didn't forgive us if we made mistakes, yelled at us, made us feel bad. So we're expecting that on the other side, and that's why there's so much fear. But no, that's not how it is.
It's so true. I say I have respect for all religions. For me, religion is one thing, love. And I have to put the word unconditional. When I say love, God is love. God is unconditional love, period. Now, whatever your religion, I have respect for it. But me, I know God is unconditional love. And what religion tends to do is create God in the image of man.
Right. We want to create God in our image.
Man in the image of God. They switch that around somehow in their mind.
That's what happens.
God is not vengeful.
Yes.
God is
not jealous.
Jealous. I can't imagine a parent, no matter what your child has done, you're not going to stop loving that child. And you would not condemn that child to hell forever.
I'm going to burn you because you told a lie.
For eternity. Really?
Ever and ever.
No.
But that indoctrination is so deep. And
it is. It is.
I know people who are getting up in age, and they're literally living in fear that they didn't pay enough money to the church, or maybe they didn't say enough prayers, or God's not going to accept them into heaven. I mean, they're literally living in fear, and it's making them physically ill because they're believing that. And again, respect to all religions, because any spiritual path can lead you to the light. But like Caroline's saying, the interference comes when we keep trying to make the creator of the universe in our image, our limited understanding, our egoistic beliefs. And we keep projecting that and teaching that and indoctrinating our children with that. And because we do that, we actually end up separated from the divine. And we cause ourselves unnecessary suffering.
Exactly.
And this is why I just love your show, because you have done so much to bring light. The guests that you've had, the topics, and of course the show is entitled Awake to Oneness. So explain, we got to take a break in about 5-6 minutes, but before we take a break, explain to the audience, what is oneness?
Oh, okay. Oneness is my awakening, like I said, and it was science. Quantum physics explains that everything is energy, and that energy is interconnected and interdependent. There is only one thing in the universe, and it's all energy. I call that energy is love. And everything is made from that same energy. It's all about frequency, high frequency of love and light, a low frequency of hate and fear. And you choose in our free will, as sovereign divine beings of light, we choose, do we want to live in love, or do we want to live in fear? And those are really the only two options. Are you going to live every moment in love, or are you going to live it in fear?
Yes, because really every other emotion comes out of fear. Even hate is fear that someone's going to harm you or fear that they're going to make you feel bad. So it's all fear. Either it's love or it's fear.
Fear.
And what does the scripture say? Perfect love casts out fear? Well, that's the thing.
Yes.
So that's the challenge that we have.
Yes, and knowing that we're one with God, never separated. See, that's how when I was in going to church and in religion, I felt separated from God.
Yeah.
But when I woke up to oneness, to the universal truth of oneness, which is science is teaching it, ancient wisdom is teaching it, and spirituality has always been teaching that we are always one with God. We can never be separate. Never be separate.
Absolutely. And what I see, even with the challenges that we have with humanity, if people knew this, they would go through an internal transformation. That's the thing that will solve our problems. It's not causing people more pain because they've caused pain, building more jails, seeing how many more police we can put on the street. If we can just connect people to the divine, it's like all of us are lights.
Yes.
And if
divine
we're unplugged, like I've just unplugged the light. Now, if the light is unplugged, it's not connected to the source of energy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's all everybody who's unawakened is. They're just unplugged lights. So if we can connect them.
And plug them back in.
Problem solved.
Plug them back into the source.
Plug them back into the source.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love. That's all that's needed. And people who, when people have maybe a religious epiphany and they see the light and they say, I'm saved, or, whatever it is, whatever terminology in which you become aware of the presence of the divine in you, that is a transformative experience.
Exactly.
And people are excited and enthusiastic. The only error in understanding that they have is that the only way to get that experience is through their particular religious faith.
Right.
They're not realizing that that experience is open to everyone. Regardless of which path you take, it's available to everyone because we are all lights. And we just need to reconnect to the source. And once that happens, you are, in fact, as if you're born again. You are spiritually renewed. You are cleansed on the inside. All of that's true.
You're right. Yes.
But it's available to everyone. Again, the Creator's not like our parents who may have played favorites. Okay, I'll be nicer to your sister because she's prettier, or nicer to your brother because he's got athletic skills. None of that. There's not. We're the chosen people. We're the favorites. There are no favorite people. All of us are just individuated expressions of God. We are all equal.
All equal.
Everything.
Unique but equal. Equal. Yes.
And if we can help people understand that, and reconnect them to the source of us all.
And it comes from within.
It comes
not outside of us.
Right.
It's that awakening, because when I awoken to the universal truth, it was not from here.
Right.
It was here. It was a heart and soul awakening. It comes from within you.
It does. It does. A dear friend recently asked me, well, aren't you going to hand out literature for our religious organization so that people can know the truth? And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. People aren't transformed by what they read and, make an intellectual, that sounds good. I'm going to change my religion to this. That's not how it works. Your heart is touched. And if you want to help somebody become a part of your religious community, show love so that they can see the divine through you.
Be a living example of love. That's so interesting. I was at the lake. I love my favorite place. I go to the lake at sunset and I meditate while the sun is setting. Looking, I'm like so connected to all that is God at that moment. But there happened to be a group of young men, and an older man was preaching to them. And they weren't far from me, and I was hearing this, but I'm still like, I'm at my perfect spot. I was like, I'm not moving. I'm like, but I said, you know what? After the sunset, I started going to my car, and then it was like, and as I passed them, I just said, have a good evening, kept on going. The young men walked over to me. And he's like, are you a believer?
Oh,
like,
my.
He did not. I'm thinking to myself, now, God, yeah, really? But anyway, but I said,
God has a sense of humor, you know.
My response in love and light was, I may not believe exactly what you believe, and then I started telling him about my radio show, Awake to Oneness Radio. I handed him a card, and he listened. I planted the seed, you know.
Good, yeah.
But, you know, am I a believer? I was like, okay. He's like, because I'm listening to this, and I'm like, I'm not going to say words. Like, I just let people let people be. I let people be, and I share my truth in love and light. And so obviously it was meant for me to say something to him because he stepped to me.
Yeah.
You know? So, and he listened. He did listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the challenges that we have. You know, people, they're sincere. They're really sincere and believe if I can just, you know, introduce her to God. I mean, I'm not making fun of you. I'm really not.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little bit. But, you know, but I mean, they're really sincere.
Yes.
But they just, do you really think that the creator of the universe can't reach people? I mean, come on now.
I had to say to him, this is my church. You see, we went in my lake. It's 4 miles from my house. It's so beautiful. I mean, look at this, Nate. This is, you can't find God.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find God because God is everywhere. But this is where I really connect with God. Out here in nature.
Yeah.
This is, you know, so I was like, this is my church, you know, because I heard him talking, when he was talking to the young men, he was talking about being in church. As if you're out in nature right now. You're not in church. You know?
Yes.
Like,
God is everywhere. God is
everywhere.
You know, there's nowhere that God is not because God is all that is.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, we got to take a break.
Yes.
And we're going to come right back. And if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325, and press 1 when you're ready to speak, and we'll gladly open your mic and get your thoughts. You're listening to the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, sitting in for our Tuesday host, Jody Susan, and we're talking to Caroline Chang of Awake to Oneness Radio. And she's letting us know that we don't die.
We don't die.
We don't die. We'll be right back after this quick break, so stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment.
That's cute.
There was early evidence that this heavy carbohydrate-loaded diet that was being prescribed was going to increase obesity and diabetes, which is done at a level that makes the pandemic epidemic look like absolutely nothing.
The standard American diet was nothing more than the solution to a business problem. We're not having an honest discussion about, are all calories created equal? There's no question that data have been suppressed. The standard American...
The Female Solution Global Radio TV show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 black moms. And
coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Hey, it's time to take charge of your health. I'm Viata, your holistic life coach, and every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I'm here on The Female Solution to empower you to make choices that will assist your evolution to abundant health. I'm also blogging every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at Soul Purpose Healing, where I bring you a spiritual chiropractic adjustment to bring you back into alignment with our Creator's love, compassion, and wisdom. Join me every Friday morning at 8 a.m. and Sunday evening at 8 p.m. for a time of unity, enlightenment, and love vibration. Shalom.
We are back. You know, it's funny. We have this theme music for each host. So since it's Jody's day, I'm playing your music, Jody, and just in honor of you, our Tuesday host, Jody.
I'm sure.
Yes. But we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, sitting in for our Tuesday host, Jody Susan, and we are talking to Caroline Chang, who is bringing us proof that we don't die.
Yes. Well, the wonderful thing is this is the day before I go out to IANS conference in Washington, D.C. this year. Now, IANS is a wonderful organization, and IANS stands for International Association of Near-Death Studies.
Yes.
So many people now are coming out and sharing their near-death experience, their experience in the afterlife for however, because there is no time. There is no time in spirit. So there's these amazing stories, and there's thousands upon thousands of people coming together. IANS has been, oh my goodness, around for a long time. I can't remember how many years.
I think it was like somewhere in the 80s, I think they were started.
Something like that.
Yes. I think it was after Raymond Moody's book came out.
Yes.
Because that was one of the first ones that actually chronicled people and their experience, what happens when they nearly die and they come back to resuscitated or whatever, but they had an experience while they were out of body on the other side.
Exactly. And I've been connected with IANS since 2019, and this is my fourth year. I will be speaking at the IANS conference this year in Washington, D.C., but I'll be leaving tomorrow. So I would just love for anybody that may be in the Washington, D.C. area, if you're interested, it is a 4-day event, and you can go to their conference. Their website is just IANDS.org, and you can find out all about it. But it's a great place to go if you're curious as to what happens when you leave your earthly body. Very, very good, interesting. I mean, for anyone, and a lot of people are interested now.
Now, does that stand for, I think it's International Association of Near-Death Studies?
Association of Near-Death Studies, because it is very science-based. Yes. International Association of Near-Death Studies. Yes.
And I'm glad you brought up ions and the whole near-death experiences because there are so many people who have had those experiences and they couldn't talk about it because what they experienced was not necessarily according to what their religion taught in terms of, judgment, hell, and because they couldn't talk about it sometimes for years, they never explained this transformative thing that happened to them when they had died.
Exactly.
And it's all over the internet right now. And people have, and many of them were told to come back and tell their story so that they could help humanity evolve, help us evolve to an understanding about life so that we could get over our fear of death because there is no death.
No death, exactly.
And one thing, and now I on our news website, and we have a news channel on air.
Okay.
The website onaireverywhere.com.
Okay.
And we have a global radio TV guide for internet TV, YouTube channels, Facebook pages, podcasts.
Right.
And we give that out as a guide. Go to onaireverywhere.com and go to the radio TV guide.
Right.
And we have so many people listed who have, and people such as yourself, listed where we recommend you subscribe to these channels because they are just, we call them global transformers. These are people who are dedicated to spreading information that can help us awaken.
Exactly.
And it's so powerful. And one of my favorites that I listened to just this morning, I don't know if you've been on his show yet, Next Level Soul.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Yes.
Awesome.
I've contacted him. I hope to be on his show. Yes. I have contacted him.
Yes.
And Ian's
Alex
also.
Ferrari,
and Ian's Ian's video on YouTube channel. I actually manage. It's something I'm doing. Just managing their YouTube channel. I started that a few months ago.
Oh,
so Ian's it's a nonprofit organization, but if you are interested in, they have hundreds and hundreds of videos on their YouTube channel, and you can hear hundreds of experiences.
Yeah.
So I invite people, you can listen to this stuff for free on YouTube and really get enlightened. Yeah. And as far as that, we were talking about hell and this fear of hell. There have been many people who have had near-death experiences that have hellish experiences.
Yeah.
But in every one of those experiences, they saw the light.
Yeah.
Or they either cried out to Jesus or Buddha or Allah, whoever your God is, because God will answer to whatever name you call him.
Yeah.
Okay, as soon as they called out to the light, called out to God, called out to Jesus, they were taken right out of that experience, like instantaneously. So it was their fear that was creating that experience.
Yeah.
And as soon as they opened up to the love and light, they were removed from that experience. It proved to them, no, hell is not eternal, and it's self-created. And we can create hell right here.
This is where hell is. We can get out of hell right here as well.
But here's the thing: in every now moment,
in
every now moment,
we
can
create
hell right here, or we can create heaven right here. And so we're creating our experience here, and we are creating our experience there.
Yes, and that's a key thing. And I really want you all who have a fear of hell to understand this.
Yes.
Because there are those near-death experiencers that experienced hell, and it was because they believed in hell. Yes. And many of them felt inside that they were going to be sent to hell. They had guilt, shame, fear. You create the reality that you're experiencing.
Exactly.
We create it here as well. It's just it happens slower because we're in this very dense physical environment. So there's time to think about things. If I wanna go and get that book over across the room, I gotta get up and walk over there. And In the other realm, everything is instant. Thought creation, instant.
Yes.
So you have to manage your thoughts, because you will create hell if that is what you strongly believe exists and that you deserve. But like Caroline just said, once you realize you got to call out to the light, you got to call out to God. You have to seek that energy, and then you will be rescued from the hell you created. And it's the same thing here as well.
Exactly. That is so true.
Yes.
Everything, that is a key part of what I try to share. Everything we experience, like my son and my daughter transitioning, everything, we created that. That was the soul plan. Nothing happens we are sovereign beings of life, meaning nothing can happen in our life experience that we did not agree to as a soul. And our soul, which knows exactly the purpose why we're here for this life, that our soul knows, our higher self, our soul knows every life experience we've ever had and why we're here, what our purpose is. We as our limited human ego mind does not.
Right.
So we have to trust that whatever's happening, it's happening for our highest good. Even the transitioning of a loved one, even the transitioning of a child. And I know this is hard for parents to hear.
It's hard for parents to hear.
It's very hard, but when you understand that they're not gone. I have a closer relationship to my children now, because when they were here in the physical, they were off living their life. They were adults. They were out living their life. I don't know where they were, what they were doing. Now I know they're always with me, and I talk to them all the time. Yes.
Well, this is the thing, and I'm going to tell my story of how I reconnected with my spouse.
Yes.
I want for those who are really grieving, suffering, if you can grasp the reality that your loved one is not gone, they're actually closer to you now because they don't have the physical barrier of a body. Yes. And so as pure energy, they are with you, they are around you, they are a part of you all the time now. And we want to help you be able to sense their presence and reconnect and even communicate with them, because they're seeking to communicate with you. You mentioned Suzanne Giesemann, who another one of my favorites, a medium who is able to reconnect with those on the other side. And that happened after her stepdaughter was struck by lightning and killed. And she said, I know there's got to be some essence of her somewhere. I know she's not in that body anymore, but I know she's somewhere. And, of course, our loved ones are somewhere. And when we know this, I mean, our religions, kind of tell us, but so many people really don't believe it. That's why they grieve so much. Oh, they're gone. No, they're not gone. They're really not gone. And for people who maybe lose a child or have a child transition, I'm even going to make sure I change my language.
Right.
Because no one's ever lost.
Right.
And the feeling, but why would God take my child and they're so young? But you have to first understand, as eternal beings, we made a life plan to be here for a certain time. We gave ourselves exit points, well, if I'm done with what I need to do, I can leave at this time, or if I'm done with what I need to do, I can leave at that time.
Right.
So you decide different ways you're going to get out of this body.
Yes.
And we think it's a tragedy. Okay, someone got maybe killed in a shooting or something. People make decisions on how they're going to transition, sometimes for specific reasons. Sometimes they want their exit to also awaken those that are here, some things that we need to change about our society. So they're actually doing a public service in their leaving.
Exactly.
And when we can understand that, then we can appreciate the time we had with them. We can know that they're still around, they haven't gone, and we can know that they served humanity by awakening us to some things that we need to change so that our society is better. We have to know this, and it's hard for people who went through things like maybe Sandy Hook or other tragedies.
Yes.
Those children made a decision to be a part of that to awaken us. We're at this point where we as a human species must evolve, and we must change the way we're treating each other. And they chose to be part of that awakening.
Exactly.
So if parents can understand that and feel comfort in that, it will be helpful. So many people are angry at God when their loved one leaves here violently, and they feel like, God did them wrong. I pray all the time, how did God let my child die?
Right.
Understand that your child, just like Caroline realizes her son said, well, I'm going to be here with you, but I'm not staying here that long. I got, I'm going to do my work, and then I'm out of here, And so however long a person is here, that's how long they plan to be here. This doesn't have to be a forever long life situation. You do what you came here to do, and sometimes you just wanted to have a certain impact on a family maybe for 2 years, and then you left.
Exactly.
So if when we get to that point, we can understand life and life inside a body, and then life back in spirit.
Yes.
Then we will change everything in our society. And we're going to talk about that review process also. One great thing, one reason why we want to connect you with organizations like IONS, the International Association of Near-Death Studies. People used to say, well, nobody ever died and came back. Well, now there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have died and come back, and they came back to tell us how it really is.
Exactly.
So that we can know, and then we can not be afraid, but we can prepare in the right way. Because
and now we can when you awaken to this truth, you start to live your soul's purpose.
Yes.
You came here for a purpose, unique purpose that only you can do. No one else can fulfill your soul's purpose. And when you start to live your soul's purpose, it's $1 billion cannot give you that joy. It's all about, look, I know who I am, I know why I came, and I'm living my soul purpose. There's no greater joy. There's no greater joy.
No greater joy. I mean, you just are at peace because you're living your purpose. And our Friday host, Viata, says, Grand Rising, beautiful queens, wonderful truth-filled discussion, giving thanks. Thank you so much, Viata.
Yes.
And, her past Sunday show, she's also on with us on Sunday evenings, and she talks about fear of your children dying. There are so many parents that are going through stress right now, worried about children going to school, children getting shot, and then one thing I don't want us to do with this generation of children is instill them with fear of dying.
Yes.
It's our responsibility to make our living environments full of love and safety. It's our responsibility. They should not be having to go through drills to hide in a closet when somebody comes in with a gun. That's our fault that we allowed that.
Exactly.
And
also for us, see, we don't understand is with our limited human mind, ego mind, and body, we don't understand that we are creating that fear by being in fear.
Yes.
We are creating it with that energy. Anything we put out energetically, you're putting all this fear out into the universe, and when it comes back, you're going to wonder, well, where did that come from? You.
Yeah.
It came from you. It came from you putting out, instead of putting out love and surrounding all the schools and all the children with love, and you have that power. You have that power just sitting at home and meditating and praying, surrounding every child on the planet with love and light.
Yes.
You're that powerful. But if you're like, I'm afraid, that's what you're putting out, and you're surrounding those children with fear.
Yes.
That's what you're doing.
To the fear energy. So we are such powerful beings. Every soul is connected energetically to the entire universe. We're all connected to everything. So the energy that we put out, you're either adding to the fear energy or you're adding to the love energy.
Love it. Exactly. And in every now moment, you can ask yourself, what am I putting out? What energy am I putting out into the universe? Is it love or is it fear? And every now moment, you can ask yourself that question.
Absolutely, and it's a choice to make. And there is a grown woman vibes. I like that. Hey, Sister Naima Salam. This is Naila. Yes, Naila. We appreciate you so very much for tuning in.
And yes.
But this is such a powerful truth that those of us who know our purpose, we're doing all we can to share it. We're promoting those who are sharing it. We We want the earth to awaken. We want to remove the fear energy, because that is what is going to help us evolve. Something that I saw, and I'm trying to remember what guest it was. I can't remember the name of the guest, but they were on Next Level Soul with Alex Ferrari's show.
Okay.
And for those people who are afraid of death and afraid of the pain, what he was explaining as a near-death experiencer, he was explaining that what happens, your soul leaves your body. Before you
exactly.
Sometimes, like if you're getting ready to even be in an auto crash, your soul is out of your body even before
the crash even happens.
So you're not suffering.
Feel anything.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You don't feel anything.
You're already gone.
Yes.
And so when people are, if you've had somebody who was maybe shot or some other violent death, their soul was out of that body.
The body. Yeah,
and
you don't feel anything.
They were not suffering and suffering and suffering. And you're thinking of even drowning. You know, your soul is out of your body. As soon as the oxygen's gone, your soul is out of your body. Watching you from above, but your soul's already out of your body.
Right.
So
and I've heard several near-deathers that have drowned. They drowned. They actually drowned, but they were out of their body and looking. They were looking at being resuscitated. They weren't in their body. They weren't. But they're like, okay, and then they're at a point. They're like, okay, it's time to get back in that body. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. But they were out. They don't feel any pain.
Yes. So you don't have to live in fear of suffering and dying, because your soul already has a mechanism to release. And you will not feel. Whatever is happening to your body, you're not feeling that.
Feeling it. You're not feeling it.
And, even if someone tragically burned, even, because there's some ways that the body has been maybe very badly mishandled, that soul was not in it.
In that body. The soul was out.
And that's what's a cause of a lot of suffering, that people are thinking their loved ones suffered and passed away from suffering. Even if you're ill in the hospital, there's only so much pain before your body releases your soul. You're not going to suffer and suffer and suffer.
Right.
Not how
and many people that are very close, like in hospitals, and they're very close to the end, they're in both worlds at the same time. They're seeing loved ones on the other side, even in the corner of the room, just waiting to greet them, you know. They're going like back and forth. And then a lot of times I hear that they'll wait to, like, say if you have loved ones in the room, wanting to be with, they'll wait till they go to get lunch or something. Because they're like, okay, they're gone. Now I can go.
Yeah, but sometimes they'll wait till you leave so they can go.
They're waiting like, okay, now is a good time for me to go. Because she's not sitting there waiting for me. I'm going to go while she's gone.
Right. And, So if you have any kind of guilt about, I wasn't there, they wanted you to leave so they could, because they had people waiting for them. I'm going to tell you, there's a party on the other side. When you leave here, you get a welcome home party. People are having fun.
Everyone has a welcome home party, and it's the best party ever.
And it doesn't matter how you left here. There's also a fear that people have, like if someone took their own life, they're suffering, they're being punished in hell forever and ever. No, because the Creator knows that you were overwhelmed, and you left here, you just couldn't take it anymore. It's understood. It's understood that your soul was in pain. You're not going to be given more pain because you were in pain.
No,
not at all.
Not at all. And you had mentioned talk about the life review.
The life review, and this is something we all need to understand what happens.
Yes.
When you cross over, you are given an entire review of your life.
Exactly.
Now, there's not, God on the throne judging you and, put the gavel down and sentencing you to hell. No, it's you. You're looking at your life, and you are feeling everything. You then become the oneness that Caroline's talking about. You become one with everyone in the sense that you're able to feel everything you did from the point of view of everybody who was around, everybody who you touched. You feel what they felt when you did things, as well as feeling how you felt when you did things. So you see it from all perspectives, and you understand exactly how you made other people feel. Watching that life review. And that's when you might feel some regrets. If you were kind of nasty to people and you felt how you hurt them, you regret that. You feel bad. But if you did some good things, you feel really good. There was one near-death experience that I don't remember which channel I was watching, but he was giving his account of his near-death experience,
right.
And he remembered this one little. Well, he was shown this one little incident when
right.
I think his family's car had broke down on the road, and they needed to go and get some water to put in the engine, that kind of thing. So they
right.
sent him to fetch a pail of water, and on the way back, the pail was really full, so he said, well, I can't carry all this water. And he saw a plant over, real dry and wilted. He said, well, I'll just pour some water on the plant. So he went over and poured water on the plant. He kind of revitalized it a little bit and went on and got water to the vehicle. But he saw that on the other side, there was like this cheering, like you'd have thought he just, won the greatest award in the world. Everybody was, all the angels cheering him for that one little act of kindness to that plant.
Yes.
That's how important it was to him to show love.
Yes.
So every act of kindness that you see yourself do, you will feel the joy that you created, and you will be grateful that you gave joy to every living thing, because every life is equal. Every life is equal. So when you know this, you live your life differently. You live your life for that life review, because and I think about that all the time now. Like, okay, I can't cuss this person out, because how will I feel when I see it in the life review? So let me just calm myself down. I mean, you really start living your life differently, because you understand that you're going to be
like
judged. You're going to
see it. When a man came up to me and said to me, "Are you a believer?" And I'm like, I always take deep breaths, and I'm like, I've got to respond with love. And it's like, I may not believe the way you believe, and then we just went on from there and I started sharing about unity and oneness and how and nature. This is my church right here. So, and he really, I think what surprised me with him is he actually listened, because I heard him just talking to this group of young men. Mm-hmm. So I thought he was going to be one of those ones, as soon as I say something, he's just going to
rebut
talk all over me. Mm-hmm. But he actually just was quiet and listened to everything I said. So it's about, and with that, so like he said, it's not God saying, okay, let's look at this, okay, you were bad. It's you feel everything that you made another person feel. And so you're like, oh, I want to go back and make that right. And it's you who decides.
Yeah.
And that's, karma is nothing but the universal balance. People think karma is a bad. No. Karma is
you can make good karma. If you do good things, you create goodness. You create good energy.
Balance. But karma is just balance, because what you did, you look and you because you can also balance out karma in spirit.
Yeah.
You don't have to come back to earth to balance out the karma.
Sometimes
there's
you choose to be of service.
Out karma.
Yeah. You can be of service to people while you're in spirit.
Exactly.
And
exactly. So
I don't want to come back here, so I'm trying to fix everything I did to people while I'm here. This is my last stint on earth.
No, this is my last go around.
I'm gonna fly with the Arcturians after this one. I'm done with y'all.
But I also think a lot of advanced souls, I believe a lot of advanced souls come back to this experience because they want to be of service.
They want to help. They want to be
of service.
And speaking of service, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about those volunteer souls. A great woman who was a hypnotherapist, Dolores Cannon.
Yes.
She was able to take people back not only to past lives, but also to the time when they chose to come here for a very specific reason. And many of us are aware that we are those volunteers that came to help Earth. So we'll talk about that when we come back. And if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325, and press 1 when you're ready to speak. We'll open your mic and get your thoughts. Let me check the switchboard, see if we've got callers that want to speak, and we will be right back. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. So stay with us.
I love that.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, self-cell care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, repairing broken families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, soulful solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, health and well-being with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, success strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, move around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Hi, this is John Alexander.
And I'm Naima Latif. Meet people like you who are making a positive difference in the world.
Big difference.
Watch us every day on The Media Connection at www.youtube.com/TheMediaConnectionTV.
YouTube it. We'll see you soon.
There are people who choose to make a positive difference in the world. Our job is to bring you their stories to motivate you to do the same. Join us each week, host John Alexander and Naima Latif, as we bring you the educators, entertainers, elected officials, religious leaders, and community activists whose works are transforming this world. Find out how you can make a difference too. Be inspired. Watch The Media Connection.
Had to go pee.
Oh, yes. Well, you know, we do these breaks. So,
do you worry about finances, family, health, job, relationships? Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? If you answered yes to any of these questions, help is available. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's part of the human process. You only feel this way because you haven't mastered the voices in your head. No hype, just down-to-earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul, whether you want to learn how not to worry about anything, reverse type 2 diabetes, publish a book, promote your product or service, or just make extra money. To take advantage of the deal of the day, go to zeldaspeaks.com or call 312-409-6619. Mention promo code The Female Solution and get free shipping. That's zeldaspeaks.com or 312-409-6619. Stop worrying today. Visit zeldaspeaks.com.
and we are right. And we are back. You are listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, and we are here with Caroline Chang of Awake to Oneness. Tell us where they can go to Awake to Oneness Radio.
Okay, my website is awake, the number 2, so awake2onenessradio.org. So awake2onenessradio.org is where you can find my website. You can find me on YouTube, Awake to Oneness Radio, and just, check me out.
So it's awake2oneness.org.
Yes. Awake to Oneness Radio.
Awake to Oneness Radio. Awake to Oneness Radio.
OnenessRadio.org.
And that's number 2. Yes. Awake to Oneness Radio.org.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, you want to go to awake to onenessradio.org.
Yes.
And hear some fascinating shows. What are one of the
one of the things I have that I started a couple of years ago, I have a playlist of, I love creating videos. I create inspirational message videos. I start my day with an inspirational message video, and so I'll hear a channeled message, and I'll take that audio and create a video to go with it.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
So I have the playlist has got to be over 80 videos now. So I encourage people to start their day with an inspirational message.
Oh, and that is wonderful.
They can find that on my YouTube channel.
Yes. Well, go to awaketoonenessradio.org and go to the YouTube channel. Now, is your YouTube channel also Awake to Oneness?
Awake to Oneness Radio is my YouTube channel, yes.
All right.
Yes.
You got to hear a show. Are there any particular guests that were just so profound that really stood out and said some things you hadn't heard before that really, like, wow, I didn't know that? Like, could you play some channelers?
I love all my guests, and for I can't believe now I've been doing this for over 8 years.
Wow.
It's always, I just love having, because for me, it's not an interview, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
And I love having these conversations with the Awaken Collective.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just always been a wonderful, amazing conversations, and some of my guests are very well known, some are not, but they're equal to me, whether they have 1 million followers or 1 follower, they're equal to me. Yeah.
And they're all doing this work. That's one of the most profound things that I had learned from listening to Dolores Cannon, who is a past life regression therapist. And I probably speak of her in the present tense, even though she transitioned in, I think, 2015. But okay. I just don't think of people as gone. You know, and because she, you know, her radio shows are still available, her lectures.
Yes.
So the wonderful thing about technology is that you are still here, even though your physical body might not be here.
She's all over YouTube.
Yes, she's all over YouTube. And what she was explaining was that after the atomic bomb was dropped, now listen to this, people. After the atomic bomb was dropped, and the reverberations of that was felt everywhere, because if we blow up this planet, we're not going to just affect Earth. We're going to not only affect the surrounding planets, we will affect the entire universe, even into other dimensions.
Exactly.
And Earth itself is a soul. That's why when you put something in the ground, it grows. Earth is an energy. Earth is alive, a living being. And Earth cried out, "Help me! I need help!" Because we were about to blow the place up.
Yes.
So what happened was the call went out for souls to, and it's understood that you can't interfere with a planet's evolution from the outside. You can watch, and that if you were a Star Trek fan and you watched, you know, the Prime Directive, you can't interfere. That's real.
You
can't interfere with a planet's evolution.
Yeah. Right.
But what was thought was, well, what are we affected from the inside, which means you have to incarnate, you have to come into flesh and bring the love and the light here on the planet as a person. So souls from around the universe were asked to volunteer.
Yes, exactly.
And so people that were the baby boomers, that was the first wave of volunteers.
62 baby boomers right here.
60, So people who volunteered to come came so that they could change the energy on Earth and change its direction, change the trajectory.
Exactly.
And change the timeline, because we were about to destroy this place.
Yes.
And many people now are a part of this awakening process. We're part of those volunteers, those souls who came from, some of us came all over, you know.
Yes. I feel like I came from the Pleiades, to be honest. I feel a connection to the Pleiades. Yes.
And many of us did. Many of us came from, you know, where there's a couple of planets I feel like I've had experiences with. And would like to go back to. But many of us, something happened in our lives, and we remembered that we chose to come here. And we remembered that we're supposed to be doing this work.
Yes.
And like Caroline said, once you realize your purpose, you are at peace because you know why you're here.
Exactly.
And those of us who are aware that we are the volunteer, we're part of this group of volunteers. We're connecting all over the world now because we know. And my understanding, something that Dolores Cannon said, changed the timeline. We were going to be going down, which would have led to our destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So, and another fascinating thing that she did, she was able to connect through many of her clients under hypnosis. She was able to connect to Nostradamus, the great seer of the future, while he was alive, through something called simultaneous time, which if you understand it, you can really realize it. Because just like I'm going to be going to South Korea for a global peace conference in the next few weeks. But I'm going to be it's going to be nighttime there, and I'm going to be doing an interview here in the daytime.
Right.
So even though they're a day in the future, we're going to be able to speak to each other, and that's simultaneous time.
Right, and I do understand. And I was at my awakening in 2007. I understand all there is the now.
It's only now.
There is no time. What we see as linear time is just a measurement in this 3D matrix.
Right.
There is, once you leave this 3D matrix, there is no time. Everything is happening. So say you lived 100 lifetimes. They're
all existing
100
at the same
lifetimes
time.
right in the now. So I stopped using the term reincarnation. I know it's simultaneous. And each life, like the life you're living right now, and what you do in this now moment, it affects everything in life, what we consider past or future. It's the now moment affects both what we call past, what we call future. And that has been proven scientifically. Even the physicist that died recently, what's his name, Stephen Hawking.
Yes, Stephen Hawking, yes.
In his work, he proved that the now moment affects, it's a ripple, like when you drop a drop of water in the lake and it ripples out in all directions. That is what the now moment is. And it affects what we consider past and what we consider future are all connected by the now.
Yes.
The only time that exists is the now.
That's when you can affect life from all timelines. Now, if you saw that one of my favorite movies, my series, Back to the Future, that sort of approached that idea because he went back and changed something, which changed the present moment, and then he went to the future, and that changed the past, so he had to go back to the future to change the present. It was so funny though, but that concept really kind of helps you understand that all of these lifetimes are happening they're existing simultaneously. I think that's one of the things that the guides who work with Dolores Cannon explain. They're existing simultaneously. So it's such a fascinating thing, but once you understand it, you just view life so differently.
You live life so differently. You really
live life differently. Yes. Our Monday morning host of the HLN TV show, the Higher Learning Network TV network, Zelda says, Grand Rising, beautiful sisters, loving this discussion. Thanks for sharing. Yes.
Yes.
So I'm just really excited to be able to share this work. Now, I had an experience with my husband of 20 years when he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And, you know, you always want to extend the life, but there was one point where we realized his body's not going to be able to come back from this.
Right.
So he and I made an agreement because we were following the Muslim faith and part of a global Muslim community and everything. I think one of my sisters even tuned in this morning. I told him, when you get to the other side, I want you to figure out how to come back and tell me what's really going on. What's the real deal? So we agreed that we were going to find a way to reconnect.
Right.
And he kept his promise.
Of course.
A few days after the funeral. He came to me in spirit. You know, in the dream state, you're kind of in spirit. Because your body's actually leaving. Your soul is leaving your body every time you are in the dream state. Every time you go to sleep.
So
his first thing he said to me was, the past the present, and the future are all the same. Whenever you want to see me, just go back in your mind to a time when we were together.
Yes.
And when he first said it was like a riddle, like, what do you mean the past, the present, the future are all the same? I mean, I know I can go back to the past in my mind, but how do I go to the future? How do you travel? You know, but by the end of the book, because I kept a diary by my bed, and every encounter we had, I wrote down what happened, what he said. I wrote down the time it happened and everything.
Okay.
You know, I wrote down the time I woke up. So every chapter, and in this book, it's visits from the dream state.
Okay.
The account of my husband keeping his promise to me to stay connected.
Yes.
And throughout over a year, a little over a year, well, even longer than that, the book spans a time of a year and a few months.
Right.
But I kept a diary of each of his visits and our conversations, and he was explaining about things, and he was concerned about his brother's well-being, because his brother was really kind of going through stress because my mother-in-law was kind of going through Alzheimer's, and it's really difficult for him. So he wanted me to stay there and help him, be his emotional support. He asked me to do that.
Right.
But he also was able to help me with what's called astral projection, which means your body leaving your soul leaving your body.
Your body.
He actually came and literally pulled my soul out of my body, and I was able to go into the dimension where he is.
Wow.
And we talked, and I did this several times, and I, chronicled it in the book.
Right.
And he really loved filmmaking. He loved film school. He used to talk about it. So one time I visited him in a classroom. I think it was one of his film classes, and there were some other people there, and they seemed like they were having fun on the computers and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So, I literally was able to go to his dimension. I didn't have a near-death experience, but I did go through I had an experience going through the tunnel that many near-death experiencers experience.
Exactly.
Saw buildings, it was like a college campus, all kinds of experiences that I've had.
Yes.
And so I know that, because when we first were doing this, the first time, he and I were face-to-face, and I was in the other dimension, I was like, are we supposed to be doing this? There's some rules we're breaking out.
Are we going to get in trouble?
Are we going to get in trouble? Because the thought is, once a person's dead, you cut ties, that's it. But no, you actually can leave this dimension and go and visit the other one. And you don't have to be dead to do it.
Exactly.
So that was a whole revelation.
Also, because with Ions, it's not just near-death experience. It's also called spiritually transformative experiences. And that's what you had. You didn't have near-death, but you had, and so did I. I had a spiritually transformative. It's called STE. STE, but it stands for spiritually transformative experience, and that they also talk about with Ions. So yes,
that was
so you don't have to have a near-death experience to go, and the OBE, the out-of-body experience.
Because I used to have out-of-body experiences as a child, and it used to frighten me because I couldn't control it. But now I can do it at will with meditation. I can actually go and visit him. And during the time my daughter was living in South Korea, I was thinking, I can go visit my husband in the other dimension easier than I can go visit my daughter in Korea, because with her, I got to raise money to get planes and everything. With him, all I got to do is raise my frequency.
Yes.
And I'm there. So it was just a powerful realization that our loved ones are not gone. And we've had...
And they want us to know that.
They want us to know that.
They so much want us to know, because they realize, wow, I'm not gone.
Yeah, I'm right here.
I see and hear everything that's going on. Yeah. I know. And then when we're sad and we're in such grief, and it hurts them, and honestly, that they're like, don't stop, don't do that, because I'm right here.
I'm fine. I'm having a good time.
Yes.
The book ends. It ends after about at the end of the book. I'm talking with my husband about, should I get remarried and all that sort of thing.
Right.
But I continued my connection with him even after the book ends. And there were several experiences I had, going to an apartment where he lived and hanging out there. went to some kind of reception they were having at, and some other people with it. I mean, they're having fun over there, y'all. I'm telling you, they're having fun.
And they're happy, and they want us
to be happy. Your
loved
ones
to be happy. Yes.
They want us to be happy. They don't want us grieving, crying, sad, feeling not only grief, but sometimes we feel guilt. And all those things. Or if I had just done this, if I had just done that, understand that was the exit point they chose.
They chose. And I did that too. When Kyle transitioned, I said to myself, I'm not going to do the what ifs. What is this? What is that? I immediately told myself, I'm not going to do the what ifs. Everything is happening. Everything happened, and is happening in perfect divine timing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Wow, didn't need to raise funds for the trip, but raise your consciousness and the funds appear. Yes, simply awesome. It's amazing. I mean, you can travel the universe, and what I discovered that it's not against the rules. It depends on how high do you want to take your frequency. You can be with the angels. You can be in heaven. Heaven is a state of being. So you can be right here.
Both are. Heaven is a state of being, and so is hell.
Yes.
Hell is a state of being. And it's not a place. And Jesus said that.
He said
Jesus said, well, where is heaven? It's right here.
Yes.
He told us. Heaven
is within you. And if you understand how to create that and live that, you can live in joy and peace and bliss. I don't care how violent the city you live in is, you will be living in a different reality, even though you're in the same space as everybody else.
Even inmates in prison can find heaven right there in their prison cell.
Yes, I've known some. I had a friend who, he was just the happiest person, and he was doing a life sentence. He was one of those people, trumped up charges during the 60s, Black Panther and all that. And he was, when I met him, we were doing a pen pal program with some inmates when I was back in college.
Right.
And this person's spirit, he's just amazing. David, I'm trying to remember his last name. But he was so full of joy and just laughed all the time. And his spirit was not in there. I mean, he was there and he was, doing workshops with everything.
The body was there, but not the mind.
His body, yes. I mean, he was one of the freest people I've ever seen.
Wasn't there.
Yes, his soul was not imprisoned. And that's, you can be anywhere and be.
I mean, it's the thing. People can be in $1 million mansion and be in prison.
Yes.
Because that's, their mindset and their soul is, because we create our prisons.
Yes.
Yes, we do. Yes. With our minds and our thoughts and our actions and our intentions, all that. We put ourselves in prison.
We do.
Yes.
And this is why it's important that we awaken.
Yes.
Whatever your spiritual belief, whatever your faith, whatever community you're part of, find the parts of your teachings that reflect love, peace,
and light,
and joy, and light.
Yes.
The Creator is not a vengeful, angry, punitive
entity
at all. And when you believe that, you're putting yourself in prison. You're putting yourself in hell. And you're going to experience the results of it in your body, because your body is going to feel the negative energy that you're directing at it with your thoughts.
You're creating illness.
And you're creating illness.
Yes.
And it's not necessary. Often it's coming from your own guilt, your own self-condemnation, your own self-hate, your own resentment of others, all these things that you're feeling, and you don't have to. You can let that go.
You let it go, and it starts with loving yourself. Forgive yourself. You honestly can't forgive others if you haven't forgiven yourself. Forgiveness and love and all of those wonderful feelings start within you. You start loving yourself, forgiving yourself, and then you can start loving and forgiving others.
Right. That's a critical thing.
Yes.
So anything that's making you feel like you're going to be judged or you're guilty or, whatever you've done in your past, the Creator already knows you didn't know any better.
Exactly.
So, we come here having forgotten that we knew everything. So we can experience all these things so that you can learn things. But when you go back, you do. That's what the life review is, so that you can see how well you learned. It's not to throw you into hell and damnation and shame you. It's not that. It's so that you can see how well you learned. Did you achieve your objective you came here to achieve? That's all.
Exactly. Yes. It's all about soul evolution. In the soul evolution, we come here to experience. As a soul comes here for the experience and to evolve.
That's it.
That is what it's all about.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're going to take our last break and come back. And, of course, if you are listening online, let me double-check and see if any of our – we got a hand up on the switchboard here. Anybody else, please raise your hand. Don't wait till 2 minutes before the show is over and raise your hand because we're not going to have time to talk to you. So we want to give you a chance to speak.
Yes.
So press 1, and we'll come right back with Caroline Chang. And wait till Oneness Radio. You got to go and watch her podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because you need to hear every last show. You really do. So we're going to be right back after this last break. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Tune in to Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear great topics and stories on grief and turn it into victory. Join Dr. Debbie Green to listen to stories of triumph and learn how to overcome. You are not alone in your life, and there is hope in the darkest hour. This is your time to learn strategies and solutions to improve your life. It's your time. So join Dr. Debbie Green with Soulful Solutions and call in on Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 515-605-9325 with comments and questions. Look to hear from you real soon.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our guest, Caroline Chang. And she is the producer of Awake to Oneness Radio. Go to it and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You've got to see those shows. So, you know, there are people also who can't quite comprehend oneness because they're holding anger towards certain groups and so forth. What have your guests and your experience and your memory taught us about the lives that we've lived before and perhaps identities that we've had as other people and other groups.
Well, the thing, when you truly understand oneness from within, you understand there is no separation between you and another. No, none. And that everything that happens, even a life that is taken, land with you and that other soul, because you and that other soul are not separate, meaning nobody as a soul, no one can kill you without your soul's permission. Nothing can happen to you without your soul's permission. And so we, in our limited humanness, think, oh, how horrible, that person got killed, that person got shot, or horrible things are happening, but nothing is happening that is not in perfect divine timing, perfect divine order that you yourself, your higher self, your soul planned. So you and that other person are one. And actually, there's a great book, and it's a children's book. It's called The Little Soul and the Sun. You can actually hear the entire audiobook on YouTube. It's a children's book that explains that when we were in spirit, we asked other souls to be mean to us, to be horrible to us. And that's the soul's like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be mean and cruel to you. But he's like, please, I need you to do me this favor. Be cruel to me when we get down there. Okay? It's all a plan. It's all a soul plan. Nothing happens that wasn't planned by your higher self. And when you truly know that, not just believe it, but know it, it's automatic forgiveness. It's automatic love. Automatic unconditional love for the other. Automatic unconditional forgiveness for the other. And automatic non-judgment of the other. Because the other is just doing what you asked them to do.
And I know that is a stretch for a lot of people to understand, but realize you came here to overcome challenges, to have experiences, to develop understanding. So if you wanted to learn how to stand up for yourself, then you had someone be a bully to you.
Exactly.
So that you would learn the courage to stand up for yourself.
Yes.
I mean, it's all kinds of things that we may want to overcome, physical challenges.
Yes.
So the things that you're here overcoming is for, again, your soul's evolution, your growth, your development. So you're asking for experiences to help you grow.
Yes.
Otherwise, you just stay on the other side where, everything is bliss, but you don't really experience anything. You don't experience any challenges. It's like going to the gym and lifting weights, You want those muscles, but you can't get them if you don't lift weights. They got to be heavy weights otherwise.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it is very hard for humans, in doing this work now for over 8 years, relatives, even I just had this conversation yesterday with relatives of mine. It's all about separation consciousness, which we are in right now in the 3D matrix, but we're rising as a collective to unity consciousness. Yes. Unity consciousness is knowing that everybody, not just person, plant, animal, everything is one and connected. There is no victim.
I love
no
talking
villain.
to my plants. There's no victims and no villain. I love talking to my plants, and they give me such wisdom. I've been able to. Well, I actually took a course and became a certified interspecies communicator, and I tell you, we've got a comment here, and then we're going to go to call. Let me first take this comment. Viata says, do you think souls who don't or can't accept this mature spiritual teaching are just new souls, or are they helping us to be discerning, or are they just on a slower spiritual growth path? Well, not everybody chose to awaken in this lifetime, because some souls think they need more experiences.
That's exactly true. Not every soul has chosen to awaken, because every soul awakens. Remember, we still think so linear.
Right.
There is no linear time.
Right.
And every soul awakens in its perfect divine timing. And we have hundreds of lifetimes. So we I'll go 2 or 3 lifetimes asleep. For a reason. That higher self, that soul chose to be asleep for several lifetimes. But now in this lifetime, I'll wake up. Yeah. It's a soul choice. And when you talk about young souls and old souls, again, it's not linear.
Every soul was created at the same time.
It's experience.
Right. It's experience.
How much experience has that soul had?
Right.
That's when you consider a soul that hasn't had a lot of experience, and they want more. So they plan a very difficult life.
Right.
Because they want more experience.
Right.
So they plan that difficult life.
Yes. Right. You're right. Yes. Every soul has its own life plan. So therefore, we shouldn't get frustrated if we can't make people understand that it might not be what they chose to do in this life.
Exactly. Yep. And I don't argue, I don't fuss, I don't fight. I share the truth, my truth that resonates with me. I share it with love and light, and I encourage people to go within and tap into their truth. You don't have to take my truth as your truth. I'm not saying that. I'm sharing my truth, and I encourage you to go within, tap into your truth, and live your truth.
Right, absolutely. I've had a lot of friends who, been raised in a certain religion, and they say, well, we don't believe in reincarnation. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's okay if you don't have to believe it. It's up to you. I mean, I remember some past lives, so, I don't need to argue about it, because my memory of them were for my benefit, so that I could remember certain experiences that would help me in this life. If I share it with you, if you say you don't believe it, that's okay. It's not going to make it not have happened to me. It's just it's your choice. But another thing with that is for us to understand, and one thing that Dolores Cannon's work with her past life regression therapy sessions, all of us have been, those of us who've had many experiences, you come to Earth and have experienced everything. I mean, everything from being air, being a rock, being a plant, being various animals, insects. So we've been everything. You, the life force energy that is your soul, right? You have had many, many, many life experiences for the purpose of understanding.
Exactly.
And so if you know that, and if you've been every race on the so-called race on the planet, you've lived on every continent, how can you be prejudiced? How can you be angry at any other group when you've been that group before? You've had that life experience.
Exactly. And honestly, I love all people, and I am so grounded in oneness. And I keep saying that. Just a conversation I just had yesterday with three of my relatives, and they just could not. They don't get it. And I'm like, okay, you know what? But what I'm trying to say to them, I'm grounded in this. I haven't been doing Awake to Oneness Radio and just I'm grounded in oneness. I know I live every single color under the sun on this life and other colors on other planets.
There's some other colors on other planets.
And I know we're all one, and it's all about love. See, the solution is unity, consciousness, and love. That's the solution. You guys want to focus on the problem.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the solution. And you texted that before the show started today. I texted a relative saying, I'm focusing on the solution of love and peace and unity and not the problem. And then I didn't even read it, but I got a nasty response back to that email. To that text. Seriously. So I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not there. It's okay.
It's okay.
I see where you're at, and you can't. You don't want to choose to see where I'm at. Right. But that's not going to change where I'm at.
That's right. Yes. Well, we got a couple callers that have raised their hands. Let me go to area code 773-450, and then we're going to go to 336. But first, 773-450, your mic is open. Introduce yourself to our listening and viewing audience, and give us your question or comment. check your mute. Make sure your phone is open. 773-450.
Hallelujah, greetings. Good morning.
Yes.
How's everybody doing? Grand Rising.
Yes, Grand Rising. Sounds like our dear brother.
Oh my God, this is a wonderful subject. You know, I was thinking about that. You know, it takes a consciousness that goes before you understand those things. These are not things someone's going to teach you. But at the end of the day, when we get to the center of our being, that's what makes us evolve and realize that when we cross the paths of people in life, they were sent there on purpose. That's why it's important for us to be on point. You don't want to direct the wrong people in our direction. It's important for us to know who we are, what our purpose on this planet is, and then go forward. Otherwise, a lot of people are connected to people they have no business even being connected to. They think they have to be connected to people. Don't you know you don't have to? I'll give you a quick example. I had a friend. Yeah, I'll give you a quick example. I had a friend 12 years. And best of friends met each other on the job. How come I walk in 2 weeks ago on them unexpectedly and they're smoking crack? I'm shocked. Yeah, I'm like shocked. Then they admitted they've been doing it for maybe 10 years or more, long or whatever, and they were stuck into it, but they keep it to themselves. So I had to stop and think, do I want to keep them as a friend, knowing if I give them $5, they're going to use it to smoke up? It had me thinking. My first thought was, I'll keep them as a friend. I'll just make sure I feed them instead of giving them anything to help them, knowing they're going to use it the wrong way. And then I decided I would just abandon them as a friend. But then I turned around 360 and said, there's no way if you're really a friend that you abandon your friend in their moment. That's when you stand and make sure that they're going in the right direction. That's what caring is about. It's their dilemma, not yours. But the point was, we do have a choice about our friends that are around us, and if we're going to invest time and invest actions on them. Because if one person can't receive what you have to receive them, it's gold to the person on your right. That's why a lot of times we talking information out into the open to other people. There are people listening and they need to hear what you say. Maybe not the person you're directing it to, but there's others in your sphere that listen to what you say. So when you're speaking, you need to be careful because a lot of people are listening.
That's true. That's true. Well, we thank you, Obadiah, for sharing that wisdom. And, you know, a lot of times what we're challenged with is unconditional love and non-judgment. Yeah. And what I've been made to understand, even from listening to many of the channeled messages from some of the shows that we tune into, is that our ascension into the fifth dimension, which is that place of love and peace that will exist on this earth. Right. The key to that is non-judgment.
And yes, the key to that is knowing we are all one. Because knowing we're one, that eliminates the judgment. Right. So, and you have unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness. Because there is no separation. So the whole thing is here on 3D Matrix, people are grounded in separation. Yes. And there's still separation of color, separation of religion, separation of politics, you name it. They're grounded in that separation. But the main difference between 3D and 5D is unity consciousness, knowing we are one, where there'll be no war, there'll be no crime, there'll be no poverty, there'll be no sickness, there'll be no death. Right. It will be heaven on earth, and we are in the midst of that transformation. But it's still a soul. Every soul has free will. Right. So it's a free will choice, and the only choice is love or fear. Right. There's and love is going to take you to 5D New Earth. Yes. Fear is going to keep you on the 3D, in the 3D matrix, and there's no judgment. That is your soul's choice. That's your soul's choice. And the thing to understand is that the earth has already begun that separation. Oh, yes. It's already begun. Yes.
And
I don't know if you ever heard of Bashar.
Yes, I just recently watched a channeling with him. Yes,
I actually got to see Bashar go to a Bashar event and was called to actually. So I got to send you that video too, but it's a short 4-minute video. But here's the thing. I heard someone say recently that Bashar was saying right now what it is a glass wall. That we can see. So, like, 5D is here. And I've been in 5D since March 2020. 5D is already here, and there's the 3D is here. So both are here right now, and there's a glass wall between the two, meaning people in 5D can see those in 3D, and people in 3D can see those in 5D. But he's saying right now that glass wall is getting thicker and thicker and thicker, meaning those that are in 3D, it's going to be harder for them to get to 5D shortly. So you can still see. So it's about choosing, and it's just a choice of love.
That's right.
Here.
That's
all it is.
It's a state of being. So you can, like you said, you can see the people on the other side. And you're right here on the same planet, but your experience is different.
It's completely different.
Your experience is completely different. And you're right here in the same spot. So like a glass, you can see them and they can see you. You're in joy, they're in fear, and but we're all right here. So it's a choice.
Yes, we're right here.
Well, I'm
just inviting them to come to I'm not going over there.
I'm not going. Not going back there.
Here.
Right. Come on up. Come on over.
Come on up. Yeah.
So and thank you so much, Obadiah. We appreciate you. Let's go to 336-350. Introduce yourself to our listening and viewing audience and give us your thoughts.
Greetings. Dr. Latrice, can you hear me?
Like Mama AZ from Arizona.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking my call, and I appreciate your guest for mentioning Neil Donald Walsh's Soul in the Little Sun. I was introduced to that animation since 2009, and the one that they have on the internet now is not the original. The original, if you can get the one, I've been telling people about that since 2009. That little animation is so profound to the point that the episode that I'm going through with eviction with the people here at Bonita Vista, where I live in Sierra Vista, Arizona. They are taking me to court with the jury and the whole 9 yards. It goes back to The Soul and the Little Sun by Neil Donald Walsh. Get the original, because they have a backdrop as to how he came up with that. And I suggested everybody, I've been saying it since 2009, and thank you, my dear sister, for mentioning it today, because today happens to be an 8 energy. 8 represents building or destroying or however, just look up what the number 8 represents. It's very profound, because we do have assignments. And I'm after this court is over with, whatever they want to do, if they want to put me out on the street or whatever at 72 years old, it's okay. I'm okay with it now, because I realize that this is my assignment, because the people here have taken the role of bullies, and it's helping me to grow spiritually with what is happening here now. So thank you, family, for just mentioning that. Please get the old version and look at the backdrop, the behind the scenes. Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, man. He explains all of that. So thank you for just mentioning that today. And research it, family. Please research it. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mama AZ. We're going to keep up with your case. You know, bullies are in our midst to give us the courage to fight back and stand up for ourselves.
Exactly.
So that's their purpose.
In all my presentations, I say that our greatest challenges in life are our greatest blessings.
Yeah.
And it sounds great, but here's a mother whose both my children have transitioned and are in spirit. And I can say, as a mother, with both my children, my biggest blessing was their transition. Not that I don't want them here with me. It's just I know that it was planned to be a great challenge for me to awaken. So the challenge that Mama AZ is going through, it is a plan. It was a plan. It was a great challenge, but that challenge is going to push you to a higher level. That's what all our challenges are here for, that we plan. We plan these challenges to take us to a higher level.
Yes. Mama AZ is one of those souls that took on a whole lot. She's like, she's like the high school student that took 5 AP classes. You know, I'm gonna master all this. I'm gonna do all of this. I'm gonna get it done. So she's a soul like that. I tell you, that sister.
Yes.
But when you get to the other side, Mama AZ, you're like, wow, I did it. It was rough, but I did it. And it's gonna be a party for you.
Because you can have the biggest party when we get because when we're planning these hard lives, when we're planning them, we have our spirit team is around us as we plan them, and they're like, "Are you
sure you want to do all that? I can do it."
Yes. And you be like, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we do it and get back over there, they're like, oh, look at her. Yeah.
You did it.
Wow. Like, yeah, she did it.
Yeah, that's Mama AZ, I tell you. She's courageous. So, yes. But, you know, this is such a powerful time to be alive. And
yes, it is. We're living in such an amazing time. My higher self told me in March of 2020, the Great Awakening has begun. And that's 3.5 years ago. And I laugh, I chuckle, because I'm like, wait a second, how long do we got to wait for this?
I know. Are we there yet?
We are in the midst of it. This is even though this year flew by.
It did.
And we're already almost in September. I'm telling you, the rest of this year, we're going to, I'm never one to predict when and how things are going to happen, but a lot is going to happen this year before we see this year end. Okay, because this is a turning point year. This is the turning point year, and that's coming direct from my higher self.
Oh yeah. Yes. Well, we've got to go, people. It's been fantastic. I'm so excited, Caroline. I'm just so grateful that you were able to come here and be with us today.
I'm so thankful for you having me. It's perfect. It happened in perfect
time. Well, you know you're going to give a fantastic presentation there in Washington, so enjoy your time. I wish I could fly out and be there and see you and go, But, you know, hopefully they'll live stream or tape it or something.
Live streaming. So,
we'll be
that's why I said, people go check out ION. The conference will be live stream as well.
All right. ION, International Association of Near-Death Studies.
Yes.
Because we don't die.
Not at all.
Absolutely. We're going to go from life to better life.
And then we say, okay, we're going to go back to that life again. You know, we go back and forth. Back and forth. Ping pong. You know,
until we're done.
Eternal life.
Yep. Just more experiences. Yep.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Well, Well, thank you so much, my sister. I love you much. Continue awakening the world. Awake us to oneness.
Thank you.
And tomorrow, join me with my co-host Kareem Hamid right here on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. We've come to the end of our show today, but you can hear every show in the archives at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. You can also hear today's show on the Female Solution Facebook page. Go to www.facebook.com/thefemalesolution. Leave your comments about today's show. You can always reach me on my website at www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, Sheshe, India, Zanyaba, Japan, Arigato, Korea, Kamsahamnida, Russia, Spasiba, Germany, Danke, Poland, Dziękuję, France, Merci, Spain, Gracias, Italy, Grazie, Egypt, Shukran, Ghana, Medasi, Nigeria, Eshe, South Africa, Ngiyabonga, Senegal, Jeret, Kenya, Asante, Israel, Toda, Pakistan, Shukriya, Afghanistan, Tashakkur, Saudi Arabia, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessing.